Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on, everybody? What is going on? What is going on? Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Tuesday, July 14th, almost halfway through July here. And we're still being fed some really, really good NBA and Lakers information. So I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Welcome to the channel if you've never been here. If you're here every morning, welcome back. Hopefully everybody's enjoying a nice cup of coffee. I'm certainly enjoying mine on this fine morning. We got a lot to get into today. Today's a busy show. Obviously, Lakers. I put up a video yesterday, kind of a separate video on its own. The Lakers obviously adding Ziaire Williams and just kind of the ripple effects with that. What comes with that? What happens next? Still got a shot at Jonathan Kuminga. So we're going to spend a lot of time on all that. And today will be nice too, because last night when I did the show, I recorded it. So did not get a chance to read some of the comments. There was a lot of comments on YouTube, a lot of positive comments there. A lot of people seem excited that the Lakers added Ziaire Williams to the mix here. All right, I'm gonna give everyone a quick rundown what we got going on for the show. Before I do so, let's a little sip of coffee, take our time. What's the rush here? What's the rush? It's Tuesday. It's only 8:01. We got a full hour here. All right, here's what we got going on for the show, and we'll kind of get in depth today since I got no guests. We'll take our time and spend a lot of time with the comments as well. Ziaire Williams added yesterday, and I think a couple things come from it. We'll talk about what he can bring to the table. I'll read some comments. It seems like there were a lot of Laker fans that are very optimistic about bringing him to the fold. They signed him for nothing. 1 year, $3 million deal. So obviously very, very, very inexpensive. As inexpensive as you could basically get for a 25-year-old in the NBA, 24-year-old in the NBA. We'll talk about how he could potentially help the Lakers. But I also think it's going to be important that that's not your, he's got to come off the bench. He's not perfect, certainly not. So I think one of the bigger question marks that we're going to have for the Lakers and for Ziaire Williams is how do you find a way to get some more wing depth? So Jonathan Kuminga is still in play. We'll read all the articles out there. It's kind of interesting. I'm seeing a lot of articles. I saw at least a lot of articles in regards to Jarred Vanderbilt, and the Lakers could potentially not be shopping Jarred Vanderbilt. Well, then how the hell are you going to get Jonathan Kuminga? Some articles out there that the Lakers should potentially keep Jarred Vanderbilt. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm down to have that conversation and down to get people's thoughts on whether they think Jarred Vanderbilt is a part of the Lakers' future or he's not at all, so we can get into that. But again, I think the main thing to take away is just kind of this I think there's two things to take away. Kuminga still in play, and how the Lakers can, and what people think about Jarred Vanderbilt and the big scope of things. There was a detail yesterday that came out. This was from Jovan, came out on Reaves' contract detail. So it looks like he took a little bit less money. And what does that mean? And what's the ripple effect in that? We'll get into that. We'll talk about how that could potentially help the Lakers down the road, give them a little bit of flexibility. Also saw something else. Who else was it on some of this contract stuff? I'll come back to it. Walker, that was I think it was the Mamu contract that also had a little bit of an effect for the Lakers that can help them for next season. Walker Kessler finally, got a chance to address the media. I thought he had a really great quote about basically running through a brick wall for the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm sure every Laker fan, that's exactly what they want to hear in regards to that. So we'll get, there's some sound here we could play at Walker Kessler. We could take a listen to Walker Kessler and kind of see, obviously what that is. I skipped one of the topics. I don't know how I just skipped this. Our Lakers contenders, Kenny the Jet Smith had a quote. I think TMZ caught up with him, and he talked about it. CBS Sports already did an early power rankings, and it had the Lakers where it had them in the Western Conference, where it had them around the NBA. So I'm kind of curious to see what what a lot of people are starting to think about with the Lakers in regards to where they're sitting today, and obviously go from there. I got some sound too. I thought this was, again, a lot of these new Lakers are starting to talk. Sandro Mamu talked, and I thought it was just hilarious. This dude he calls it the Mamu mentality instead of the Mamba mentality. We'll play that. A little bit of personality to him. Colin Sexton talked as well. So we'll play a little bit of this sound so people can kind of get to know some of these new Lakers. We'll hit up some NBA news, and then we will call it a Tuesday. So shout out to everybody being here. Thank you for being a part of the show. If you watched last night's video, I tried putting up, I think it was under 15 minutes, maybe 12, 13 minutes, whatever it was, a video yesterday, the Ziaire Williams signing, but then we'll also have some time to talk about it here. If you're new to the channel, like I said, appreciate you being here. Only thing I ask here is if you can subscribe to the channel. Just got over 36,000 subscribers. We're hoping to get up to 40,000, hopefully in the near future. So do me a favor. If you like the channel, you like the content that we put out here, please like, subscribe, and share the video. If there's anybody that you know, I can't tell you how many people that I run into, and somebody will be like, "Hey, Slee, what are you doing now?" I'm like, "I'm on YouTube Monday through Friday." They have no idea. So anyways, if you guys can share that with anybody that you think likes the content, then I would appreciate it. All right, we'll take a look at some of the comments here before the show gets started, and then we will get started. Let's see what we have here. Need that cup of Joe. Go get that cup of Joe. Madrid, Spain here, having coffee after lunch. Damn. Big game coming up here in a few hours. You got Spain and France at noon today. By the way, why is that game at noon? Isn't the game in the States? I mean, can't we have a little bit of a say of what time the damn game is? Can't get the game around 5 or 6? Who's watching it at noon? I'll be watching it at noon. Finally, Ziaire Williams, great signing for that contract. Ziaire, low risk, high reward. If Kuminga pushes too hard, he will end up like Dennis Schroeder, remember. Lakers athletic and quick again. That's going to be a good topic for everybody as well. Shout out to Anthony here, who's gifting out a Hoops Talk membership. Shout out to, I'm doing a member show on Thursday. Thursday, I'm going to do a member show at 9:30. We're going to do a member show, and we'll shoot the you-know-what. So if you're not a member, please consider doing it. $3 a month to hang out and support the channel, and it's just another way. Nobody should feel obligated by any stretch of the imagination. But I try to do a weekly show, and obviously that one is just geared towards members. So shout out to Anthony for sending out or gifting a Hoops Talk membership. Appreciate you doing that. All right, let's get one more in here. We are not contenders. The OKC, Spurs, and Denver are still much better than us, but we're so much younger and athletic now. Luka took a team to the finals before. We'll see. This is a good comment that I'll probably come back to when we get into are the Lakers contenders, because I think two things can be true at once, right? You could not be a contender, but you could also love the path that the Lakers are taking. And it's going to look, let's just say it's going to look completely different next season. All right, let's get the show started. And we'll start off here with the news about Ziaire Williams. So, again, I will tell you guys, if you don't mind, as we go through these topics, I love the comments to kind of match the topic that we're in. And I know you guys will have conversations with yourselves, which is all good. But I'll focus a little bit on Ziaire Williams. Give me your thoughts of what you think on the move yesterday that went down. They signed him for nothing. I mean, a 1-year vet minimum. By the way, I didn't know you could be a vet at 24, but just peanuts on the dollar. And we saw the news yesterday from Shams. I guess there was a report out there as well. Dan Wyke reported that New Orleans was in the running to sign Williams, but ultimately the chance to play in his hometown team in a winning situation won Williams over for the Lakers. That's according to Dan Wyke. He's just 24 years old. Last season, averaged for the Nets 10 points, 2.5 rebounds, shot 42.5% from the field, and shot 34% from the three-point line. Played 56 games last season. Never played more than 63 games in a season for his career. So that's kind of that's kind of good information to have there. Let me just say this on Ziaire Williams, because I'm sure we're not going to say too much more after today, and he's just part of the rotation now. He takes up the 15th final roster spot. There is obviously ways for the Lakers to maneuver after that. I saw his name come up a ton. Let me actually do this. Do me a favor, Eric, and I think this will actually tell a lot of the story as well. go to my YouTube, go to the YouTube page from yesterday that I posted, the video that I posted, and just go to the comments, because I've seen his name a ton over the past, let's say, couple of weeks, even recently. Like, I think a lot of people have said, you know what, Kuminga's, I don't know why people are mad at Jonathan Kuminga. The man is just trying to get a contract, and this is how free agency works. You want to be mad at somebody, tell LeBron to hurry his ass up and make a decision so then everybody else can make a decision. But I've seen a lot of people say, hey, Al, I love this signing. Oh, my gosh, this is perfect. And I think for me, I think when people say that there's no risk at all, there isn't. There's a lot of upside, there is. Are there areas of his game where, you know, he could be a ton better? Of course there is. But I'm just, look, I think there's just so many comments here, and most of the comments that come in, and, you know, this is people kind of live reaction, not necessarily, they don't need scoring, just play D, lock up. His defense numbers are really good. Love the signing. 40% open from three. Let's see what we got here. They have a ton of depth, just not enough starters. Kuminga's a real risk. Do not overpay. There's the reason, the only point I'm trying to make here, it doesn't really happen often. You could slow down on that. We could, and we could, you get rid of it. That's fine. The one thing that I just will say is, I think for me, it's very common to, in the business that I'm in, to see people bitch and complain about what they don't like. What's not that common is that there are a ton of people that are on the same page from a positive perspective. And I feel like that's kind of the vibe I got from Ziaire Williams, the signing for Ziaire. So I think there's a lot of people that are out there that are saying to themselves, hey, this is a good addition for the Lakers. And I think what really, really is most important, if you tell me that that's it, they don't add another wing, then I'm going to tell you that I don't feel that great and that comfortable about the wings that they have. But if they're able to add another piece, I think there is, you know, you're going to have some real wing depth there. And that's not something we've been accustomed to with saying about the Lakers. There's a couple different angles that I want to take on this. And I want to talk about, you know, the Kuminga opportunity that's still there. But can we just talk about how drastic of a change the Lakers have made? Do you know another team in the NBA that's going to look as different as the Lakers did from last season to this season? I mean, this is a completely different team moving forward for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I saw all the comments, and I know people during post-game shows and everything else, there was the same theme of what people were bitching about. Did the Lakers not kind of address all of those needs? Hey, you got to move on from LeBron. Okay, he's gone. Hey, you got to get younger. They look like one of the younger teams in the NBA. The oldest player on the team is Kevon Looney, who's maybe 31, 32 years old. And then it's Austin Reaves at 28. Hey, you got to get more athletic. All right, well, think about how many different they obviously, with some of their younger players, they're more athletic. This adds a little bit more athleticism. We're obviously talking about Ziaire Williams. There's still an opportunity to go out there and get another wing. Potentially, they could become even more athletic. Hey, you need a real true center that's a defensive presence. I mean, got that with Walker Kessler. And I'm not even here trying to make a case that the Lakers are a championship team. I'm not here trying to make a case that the Lakers next season are going to go through the Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder, because they're most likely not going to. But do you know of another team that has made this drastic of a change in the offseason? And Ziaire Williams just kind of added another theme to the, oh yeah, Lakers are continuing to get younger and more athletic and building around Luka Doncic. So I think that this is just another signing that makes a whole bunch of sense for the Lakers. And again, I'm not here. My job is to not try to BS and pretend and make you guys think that the Lakers are all of a sudden contenders. But I do think it's a really, really significant change. And yesterday's addition was just another piece that was added that fit into this mold of like, damn, this is a completely different team. And I remember many times last season, and really over the last couple of years, where people are like, They're too old. They're not athletic enough. And Lakers are obviously trying to address that. Now, do they have a good team? I got no idea. We'll have to wait until we get to October and get to, November and December and see how this thing gels. But at least we could all kind of sit here together. And the honest truth that you could have about the Lakers is they got a lot younger. They got a lot more athletic. And they're definitely building this team around Luka, which is exactly what they have to do. Okay, the other kind of big piece that came out of yesterday is one of Shams' quotes yesterday that he had that was obviously talking about the signing of Ziaire Williams. I thought it was interesting. He said that, Williams signing gives the Lakers a full 15-man roster. However, the Lakers are still in strong pursuit of Jonathan Kuminga and could clear room to add the free agent via sign and trade with the Atlanta Hawks or by waiving a player on their roster, among other avenues. I kind of feel like now at this point, I'd be surprised if Kuminga's not a Laker. And I'm sure there's many paths that can happen, and I'm sure that he can end up signing with another team, and that's it. But there was a moment yesterday, and I'm sure there's other Laker fans out there that thought, oh, they got Ziaire Williams. That's it. Kuminga's out. And it was Dave McMenamin in his, or I think it was Ben Golliver. I can't remember who it was. But there was an article that came out on ESPN that talked about Ziaire Williams. And there's a piece in there that's like, yeah, and they still got a chance at Jonathan Kuminga. Shams going out of his way to say in a tweet that has nothing to do with Jonathan Kuminga that Kuminga's still in play. I mean, when you got these types of reporters that are still just attaching Kuminga to the Lakers, it tells me, at least it gives me indication. It's like I almost at this point would be surprised if Kuminga is not a Los Angeles Laker. And if you told me that when the dust settled, they had Ziaire Williams and they got Jonathan Kuminga and they ended up with Quentin Grimes and they drafted Cameron Carr and they have a Adu Thero, you got some wing depth here. I know not all those guys are, the perfect player or the perfect position, but damn, would that not be, so much different than what the Lakers have looked like and what they've been represented before. So now kind of all the attention shifts to, can you still get your starting wing? And that would be Jonathan Kuminga. And, for me, I'm rooting for that to happen. I've heard some people, and I'll read some of the comments here, and I'm sure Eric is highlighting them, but I've heard some people have some doubts in regards to the Jonathan Kuminga piece. And you know what? This guy's already being a headache or a pre-bid. No, he's not. Jonathan Kuminga, this is when you're a free agent, you and your agent are supposed to try to get you in the best position possible, the best situation. You're trying to get paid. And again, I go back to this. If you want to bitch and complain about somebody, I mean, LeBron is on like a recruitment tour, and there's 25 teams that have a shot at him apparently. And they're taking voice memos, which was reported on Friday, about this pitch for LeBron James. It's like, let's freaking pick a team. Just pick a team. And I do think there is a trickle-down effect that once LeBron chooses where he's going to go, it probably is going to allow other teams to maneuver and shift their attention and everything else. And I think kind of Kuminga might be stuck in this little, bottleneck, this traffic jam that LeBron caused. Freaking LeBron. Make a decision. How many weeks do you need here? All right, let me take a look at some of the comments here, and then we'll go from there. Let's see what people are saying. Well, what are the people saying? Let's see what we have here. Williams wanted to play for the Lakers. Kuminga acts like Lakers should beg. Guys, can we stop looking at it that way, please? I mean, there are business decisions to be made, and you got to look at it from the other. You got to look at it from the other perspective as well, right? Like there's for anybody that's upset at Jonathan Kuminga trying to negotiate and get the best deal that he possibly can. How do you know that the Atlanta Hawks aren't playing, ball with the Lakers? And how do you know the Lakers aren't trying to go find a third team to get involved because the Atlanta Hawks don't want Jarred Vanderbilt, which I'll get into in a second about Jarred Vanderbilt. The Laker fans' attention should not shift to, well, Jonathan Kuminga's not, it's July 14th, and I want him now. That's not how this works. And frankly, and I get it. It's a fan perspective, and a fan is looking at it just from their team's point of view. You got to be a little bit more. You got to be a little bit more open-minded about it. new ownership has good basketball ideology. It's a great point right there. I think there's something about that. I think there is a little bit of, all right, well, can we win with the current team that we have? No. Okay, well, does this team have an opportunity to win over the next couple of years? No. Okay, should the direction shift to get younger and more athletic, or are we better off staying with the roster that we have? Go younger and more athletic. Done. Make it happen. Start making all the moves. Start making all the changes. That's what the Lakers are doing. And whether people are going to say, I don't, is that new ownership? I think it is. No question about it. I don't think it's a coincidence that new ownership comes in and then the look of the team is completely different. Completely different. All right, let's see what else we have here. The additions weren't bad. The contracts that Rob gave everyone is bad. Also, choosing Looney over Nick Richards was a mistake. Okay, that's the backup center. Rob is cooking this offseason. All right, so we got completely two different opinions here. It's like they both went to the same restaurant. One guy said, I absolutely hate this restaurant. It's the worst restaurant out there. And then the next customer was like, food is phenomenal here. Love this place. Be back here next week. People complained last season about making changes. Now changes are made and people are mad. I'm excited for this team. Hey, I will tell you this. No one on here can say that the organization did not take a completely different approach. Nobody can complain about that. Now, again, I'll go back to this, and we'll do our Lakers contenders. We'll do that in a second. I'll go back to what I said earlier. I got no idea if this is going to work. I got no idea if Walker Kessler is going to be, a bust. I got no idea if Colin Sexton and Quentin Grimes and Mamu and all these signs that they made, we're going to look back and say those were dumb signings. I got no idea if Austin Reaves' contract is going to get worse and worse as we go, but it's going to look a lot different. Love it. Ziaire is actually a type player you need, young, lengthy, a defender primarily, but can score. Already much better than Vando. This is only a plus for us. Okay, now I got some supers here, which I'm going to get to in a second. Let me talk Vando here for a quick second. I'm going to keep this comment up because there's a couple conversations about Jarred Vanderbilt. We got some sound too, right, Eric? Okay, let's play Jake Fisher and Mark Stein was doing a live stream, Bleacher Report, and they were talking about Jarred Vanderbilt. And I don't know how you guys feel about Vando, but there's three players, right? There's two specific players that I'd like to kind of see that hopefully when next season starts are not on the Lakers. One of them is Vando for me. I don't think, JJ Redick believed in him nor used him properly. Let's put it this way. Vando's on your team. You got to use him to your strengths and your abilities. But if Vando and Dalton Connect were not on the Lakers, I think it's best for both sides and all sides. But take a listen here. This is the conversation about Jarred Vanderbilt with Mark Stein and Jake Fisher.
And so presumably they would need Vanderbilt to be in the trade, and we know the Hawks have shown resistance to it. So
I also don't think the Lakers are just like trying to shop Jarred Vanderbilt around the league. I haven't gotten that sense either.
I got a difficult time believing that, to be honest with you. I think the Lakers would get rid of Vando in a heartbeat. He's making $11-12 million a year. That doesn't seem like a favorable contract. If I ask people right now, would you rather have Ziaire Williams for $3 million or Jarred Vanderbilt on a multi-year deal at $11-12 million? I think every Laker fan is going to say, yeah, I'll take my chances with Ziaire Williams. So you can figure out which contract is more valuable. There was an article that came out. The Lakers, this is Carlos Yakmovich article for Yahoo Sports. As best I can do, guys. The Lakers should only trade Jarred Vanderbilt if the return is right. And it just kind of goes into it's trying to make some points that Vando is one of the more valuable defenders that the Lakers have, that he's obviously one of their best perimeter defenders, can guard multiple positions, brings energy, hustle, and rebounds. They had a lot of positive things to say about the article. But if you're telling me, is there a path or a way for the Lakers to try to get a Jonathan Kuminga? And if the Vando contract and that Vando player is in the way, it's like, what are we even talking about? I don't think there's much of a conversation here. I think part of that has to do, again, I don't think JJ Redick and Vando saw eye to eye. So I think it has probably as much to do with that than anything else. We know Vando struggles on the offensive side. And again, I think that Vando also kind of, it feels like, how many games did he play last year? I feel like there's a lot of times where Vando's banged up, and I give the man a lot of credit because even when he's banged up, he plays. I mean, I'm not taking that away from him because is the guy a warrior? Dude is 100% a warrior. But I think as the Lakers are kind of starting to get a new look and a new feel, I think that's a replacement that you kind of have to have in regards to, not you have to have, but it would be nice to have. So whatever these articles are out here for, and like I said, that article about Lakers should only trade Jarred Vanderbilt if the return is right, but then it goes into, well, Jonathan Kuminga is an example of a worthwhile trade, and that's really the conversation that we're having here. So on the Vando piece of things, there, like I said, there's a few players here that I would like to see changed, and I think Vando fits into that mold for me, as does Dalton Connect. If Jake LaRavia is not on the team next year as well, I'm completely fine with that. So there's certainly some players right now on the roster. With the signing of Ziaire Williams, if they're going to make a move on Jonathan Kuminga, it means that they're going to have to make some additional moves in order to make that happen. If no JK or PJ Washington, can we pivot to Spencer Jones? Yeah, I don't know what they'll do, actually. It's kind of a good point. I don't know what plan B is for the Lakers in regards to if Jonathan Kuminga doesn't come to the Lakers. SK, thank you for the super. I don't know what plan B is. You know, I always, Ziaire Williams, I thought was like part of the plan B, right? Like I would see people say, okay, hey, it's not going to be Jonathan Kuminga. Go after Ziaire Williams. Go after Matisse Thybulle. Go after Bruce Brown, right? Like these are some of the names that you saw. Well, they signed one of those guys, and then there's still, all that attention is still over on the Jonathan Kuminga front. So we'll find out what a plan B could be, and hopefully they don't need a plan B. No crying to refs this year. Got to get back on D. Who's holding our captain responsible? Will he set the example? This isn't talked about enough. Spencer, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. I don't know if it's not talked about enough. I'm just going to give you from my perspective, and I got no problem doing this. Obviously, that's our job, right? To be completely honest, when we're doing one of these shows. But I remember last year during the season, I'm like, yeah, Luka, stop bitching and complaining. Luka, get back on defense. Luka, how are you threatening? Remember where there was a point where you're looking at the standings and you're like, hey, what if the Lakers ended up, Luka gets suspended for a game and the tiebreaker game against the Rockets, he doesn't play in, and then the Lakers end up losing home court. We played out all those scenarios. But I think, maybe you're right here. Maybe there isn't enough accountability. I will tell you this. I think whatever attention was on Luka in the past, that attention just got brighter and brighter. Because in the past, we could say, well, LeBron this, LeBron that. Or in the past, we could say, well, you got to fully rebuild around Luka. They've done everything, obviously coming into this season. This is Luka's team. This is his franchise. He is the present. He is the future. Every move that they've made is based off of needs for Luka Doncic. So I think that this is a fair comment. Spencer, I appreciate you throwing in the super. And I think just naturally, the criticism, being more critical about Luka Doncic, that's only going to go up now that LeBron's not here and all the attention is on Luka Doncic. I don't think people are going to have any problem with it. If Luka's, obviously if he's not playing well or he's struggling or he's not doing what he needs to do, I think a lot of people will definitely give their opinion on that. All right, let's see. Kuminga would run this team. Kuminga would ruin this team's attitude. I'm going to try to work on a guest that can tell us a little bit more about Jonathan Kuminga. I think that's a good idea. The type of player he was in Golden State and everything else. I think that would be helpful. I'll work on that. I will work on that. Vando played 65 games last season. Okay, good to know on that. All right, let's keep things moving. I didn't know I was going to go almost a half hour on that, but that's kind of where we are. When you're in the middle of free agency, and there's a trickle-down effect when a player signs, and I think for the Lakers, this is like a perfect example of all the different trickle effects that they have. Okay, so here's a question I got for everybody. We've seen what the Lakers have done. I think Kuminga it would obviously make a big difference here of how I feel about the Lakers. Again, this is just one person's opinion. There are some early power rankings that are going on right now based off of what's happened so far in free agency. And there's still kind of big pieces that have not yet, fallen. So I think a lot of people are waiting to see what happens there. CBS Sports did this 2 early NBA power rankings, which is fine. I mean, I kind of wanted to see this just to see where the Lakers are. And part of this also came up. I saw something. Kenny Smith was, we don't have to play it or anything. Kenny Smith was, TMZ caught up with Kenny Smith, and he had a quote. He was asked about the Lakers. He was asked, is this, a championship? Are they a real contender with the changes I made? Here's what he said. He said, this is a competitive team, but not a championship team yet. LeBron James makes them a championship team. I don't know if I completely agree with that, but I understand, what he's saying there, and I understand the angle there. What Kenny Smith, I think, failed to point out is he's not with the Lakers anymore. So no need to bring up LeBron anymore unless it's in NBA stories and there's voice memos going out for teams. Not much to really talking about in LeBron case of things. But I think what he said about not a championship team yet there, I don't really argue that. I mean, is anybody thinking that the Lakers are going to be on par with the two teams that are arguably 1-2 in the entire NBA? I know the Knicks would have something to say about that. But as some of these younger teams get older, they're only going to get better, more experienced, and that's kind of the idea. And the Lakers are fighting a Western Conference where, yeah, they could be third best in the West. They could be sixth best in the West. We'll just have to wait and see. I want to show you guys these power rankings and where they have the Lakers. This is before LeBron signs with the team. It's before Jonathan Kuminga signs with the team. There's other players out there that are, still available, some of the different free agents that are out there. But Lakers do have their 15-man roster, so if they are going to improve, they're going to have to make, a couple more changes. Here's where CBS has, we'll go kind of through each team here. I don't know how quickly they have it ranked, but the number one team in this ranking is the San Antonio Spurs. Okay? This is the entire NBA, so I'll tell you where the Lakers are in the West after, but we'll just kind of keep going down the list. Who do they got number 2? The Knicks are sitting at number 2. Number 3, I disagree with this. They got the Oklahoma City Thunder at number 3. So just kind of gives you an idea from that perspective that OKC is number 3. We'll keep going down here. Indiana at number 4. Don't understand how they made that happen. A lot of question marks still with the Pacers. The Toronto Raptors, if the trade goes through, I guess with Kawhi is how they have them at number 5. We'll keep going. Minnesota's at number 6. So they really believe in LaMelo Ball. Boston at number 7. The Philadelphia 76ers at number 8 with Jaylen Brown. I don't really understand this ranking, to be honest with you. And the Los Angeles Lakers sitting at number 9, which I think is 4th in the Western Conference. Do I think the Lakers are legitimate contenders today? I do not. Do I think they're kind of sitting? It's so tough to predict a team when you've never seen them play and you have this drastic of a change. Lakers didn't just make one move or one small move and you're like, oh, okay, well, because of that move, now they jumped up one spot or they fell 2 spots or something like that. It's almost a roster overhaul. I mean, let me give you every player that's no longer on this Lakers team. Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, Luke Kennard, Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes. Who else am I missing here? There's probably another player or two that I'm missing just off the top of my head. Significant changes for the Lakers. Big time changes for the Lakers. So to kind of guess where they are right now in the Western Conference, I've got no idea. If you told me, obviously LeBron. If you told me you'd rather have this team or the team from last year, I'll take my chances with this year, with this team that they just put together. If you told me they're better off with this team or last year's team for the next couple of years, it's clear that they're probably better off. Now, listen, people can say, I thought Eric Pincus yesterday made up a lot of good points, the risk of the Walker Kessler deal and the fact that, you gave up so much draft capital in order to get him. There's risk with this Lakers team, no question about it. And maybe if they were able to be a little bit more creative on draft capital, maybe Jonathan Kuminga would already be on this team. Maybe there was some other big game hunting they could have went after, but they didn't. And this is how they got the roster that they did. So there's a lot of CBS's rankings here. I think there's a lot of teams I would question. Thunder at number 3, no thank you. Pacers at number 4, better than the Celtics or the Sixers. Yeah, I don't agree with that one. But Lakers at 9, yeah, I get that. Maybe people even want to look at Denver even being better than the Lakers. But I think the overall thoughts on this specific story was Lakers, very good regular season team, but not a true contender. They could be top 10 in the NBA, but when it comes to the true contenders, we'll see what happens. Now, the Lakers are obviously hoping that he can go on some kind of a run like he did with the Dallas Mavericks. So I want to put that in there as far as contenders go, and we'll keep things moving here. We could take that down now. All right, let's look at a couple of the comments here, and then based off of some of these comments, I want to start getting into a couple of the other comments as well. Laravia and Connect are on the last year of their deals. An expiring contract is more valuable than Vando and his 2 years and $24 million. Great observation. Absolutely good observation. I don't know what happened to Jake Laravia in the playoffs, but this man just kind of fell apart in the playoffs. The moment was so big for him. And, he lost his confidence, didn't look confident at all, looked scared every time he touched the ball, was obviously not a good offseason or not a good playoff run for Jake Laravia. Bronny will probably get traded to where his pops takes his talents to. Would love to see Pelinka throw a smoke screen and demand more in trade for him, but I doubt that happens. I think I should do a segment on Bronny at some point. If you told me that Bronny's on the Lakers roster after LeBron signed somewhere, if you told me come October that Bronny's on the Lakers roster, I don't think I hate it. Like, I don't think I have this, I think when he initially got drafted, I was definitely bitter about it. I was like, what the hell is this organization doing? You're drafting, and then there'd be stories about and his son's in Arizona and he might come to. I'm like, I'm gonna hallucinate here. Like, what is this franchise doing? I didn't have a problem with Bronny. I really didn't. Like, I also felt like Bronny's properly developing, slowly rolling up his sleeves. I mean, hell, if you want to be young and athletic and need an on guard defender, Bronny fits a little bit of that mold. A little undersized, but and if he is traded to make room for a roster spot, that's fine too. The world's not going to end. But I think you guys know what I'm talking about, right? I didn't have an issue with Bronny, which surprised me a little bit. It's kind of like you would just assume, yeah, let's get Bronny out of here. I really didn't have that much of an issue. The funny thing too is about Bronny, I think in a weird way, I think a lot of Laker fans would be like, all right, that's fine. I don't think there would be this overwhelming, yeah, get him out of here. I don't think that would be the case. I think this is an interesting comment. Bronny is a better prospect than Dalton. No question about it. I don't even think that's even. Now listen, can Dalton Connect go shine somewhere else? Well, let's find out. Let Dalton Connect go play somewhere else, and let's see if that could be the case. But if you told me right now, who do you want, Dalton Connect or Bronny James? Is that a conversation? I don't think it's a conversation. And one guy was picked, number 17, and the other guy was picked number 55 because his dad was on the team and arguably the most popular player to ever play the game, or one of the most popular. Here's another one. I low-key want Bronny to stay. I'm telling you, I actually think Bronny is an interesting conversation. All right, and then there's other people that it comes back to reality. All right, Bronny, a little small, needs to lighten his handles, shooting, playmaking, but overall has been solid. I haven't had an issue with Bronny James. I really haven't. I haven't had a problem. They used Bronny. Okay, Eric's chiming in here. Used Bronny at the end of the season when Marcus Smart got hurt. Bronny got playoff minutes. JJ clearly trusts him and sees his growth. We'll see what happens. It might not be an option, and not that I got to spend 15 minutes on the future of Bronny James, but I think you guys know where I'm going in regards to that. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw this. Austin Reaves, there was some details that came out yesterday that were not out there before about Austin Reaves that we're going to get to in just a second. Before I do, let's give a shout out to Brad Wallace at the Wallace Firm. Shout out to a really, really loyal supporter of the channel and the show, somebody that really wants to see this independent journey continue to grow. But shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. You, a family member or friend, is in need of an injury attorney. You got the best in the business right here that I have direct contact with that can help you and is very, very is known in the industry as one of the best in the business. If you are in the state of California, he can help you. He could represent you. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa is the website. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. I'm going to try to get Brad on next week. He's a huge Laker fan too. Get his thoughts on how the offseason has gone and just, obviously thank him for being such a loyal partner. We've had listeners reach out to me directly. Al, I know Brad Wallace is a big sponsor. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa, or you can hit me up with an email, AlanSliwa@gmail.com. I'm happy to steer you guys in the right direction and make an introduction to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Okay. So yesterday I saw this. Jovan had put this out. So I'm going to just kind of read, just let me give you guys a little bit of the details. So Jovan put out that Austin Reaves, his 4-year deal was not $185 million. It was actually $180 million. And it was originally reported at $185. So Reaves lowered the amount to give the Lakers some future cap flexibility. So listen, I'm not going to, I think there's a part of me that's not going to go have a parade for Austin Reaves because his contract went from 185 to 180. I think Austin Reaves got very, very, very well taken care of by the Los Angeles Lakers. I still think the Lakers, that's a contract that you kind of just hope that Austin Reaves is. That contract says you're an all-star, right? So if you're getting 4 years, 180, 4 years, 185, the details now 180, you got to be an all-star. And Austin Reaves has got a lot of work to do, and maybe he becomes an all-star, and maybe everybody's sitting here saying, man, that was such a great signing, and you know what? It didn't have a negative effect. It wasn't a negative contract or any of those things. So I think everybody's obviously hoping for that, but there's expectations that if you're getting paid $180 million from the Lakers, that you're a real deal. What this detail offers is that the Lakers will have a little bit of flexibility here, and by lowering that amount, the future cap flexibility, it's basically like a good marketing play for Austin Reaves. But to be honest with you, either way for Austin Reaves, there's going to be a lot of eyes on him. Trevor Lane had said something yesterday. According to Trevor Lane, because Austin took less and Mamu's contract is worth less in the second year than any of the other years, the Lakers are now a step closer to potentially having the full non-taxpayer mid-level exception available to them for next summer to help improve the roster. Non-taxpayer mid-level exception for next season is projected to be around $15.8 million for next year. That's a significant number right there. You can get a real player at that 15.8. So, I'm going to give you guys an example. Like, I want to say the Clippers use their non-taxpayer mid-level exception on Rui Hachimura. I might be right on there. I might be wrong on there, but I know that it was 2 years, $28 million. So it kind of shows you, hey, this is the caliber of player that you can get at that number. Eric, I don't know if you can do this on the fly. If you can, you can. If you can't, all good. If you can look up maybe some current players in the NBA that are at that non-taxpayer mid-level exception, and it's around that $15 million range, I think that will give us an idea of the type of players that are there. And maybe this strengthens my argument or hurts my argument, but I think that's, I think that's news right there. I don't think that's nothing. I think Austin Reaves obviously taking a little bit less. Okay, that helps. Mamu taking a little bit less in his second year will help the Lakers, and you kind of take that for what it is. And, hopefully from there that this is something that benefits the Lakers, because as they continue to try to build, all right, let's take a look at a couple of these here. Let's see if this, how much this helps. So what do we have here? Mid-level. Okay. Jock Londale. Okay. Mitchell Robinson. Okay. That's the Boston one. DeAnthony Melton, Marcus Smart, a lot less. So some of these, depends. Yeah, Rui signed that. That's the mid-level that he signed with the Clippers. It depends, right? It depends what a team has. And the Lakers, if they're having $15.8 million, Anthony Simons, that's a good one there that came very, very cheap. Luke Kennard, that's how he got his deal, looks like, with Phoenix. Tobias Harris, that's a phenomenal one there. Tobias Harris is probably Tobias and Rui Hachimura are probably the great examples there of, imagine if you added a player like that next year to go with obviously what you already have at your mid-level exception. That's a good addition. That's a good addition. I randomly saw, this was about a week ago, less than a week ago. I was flying. I went out to the East Coast for a couple of days, and then I was in the South. So I'm flying from San Diego, and I just see the guy getting off the plane is Tobias Harris. Like, that's a good career right there. Tobias Harris has had a nice career. Just kind of casually walks off and nobody bothering him. I'm like, it's Tobias Harris. That's a good player. Did good with the Pistons. It's a good fit there in San Antonio for Tobias Harris. But those are good examples of that mid-level exception. And again, if it's around that total, let's just use Tobias Harris and Rui Hachimura. That's a good player that you can get at that amount. And if Austin Reaves did a little bit to help that, and Mamu's contract was structured to help a little bit from that perspective, I want you guys to, when you get frustrated that Austin Reaves got blown by another player later this year, I want you to say, well, he gave a little bit of a discount for next season. Okay? That's what I want you guys to do moving forward. Okay, we got some let's see here. I'm going to shift gears here to Walker Kessler. By the way, I got something I'm going to be giving away tomorrow and Thursday. I got a really cool giveaway from Harris Resort. We're going to do a little bit of trivia tomorrow and Thursday, but I'm going to promote it in today's show about what we got going on with Harris Resort, that part of kind of our partnership here. They're doing something for the game on Sunday, obviously the World Cup game, everything else, and they got something going on there. I'm going to be giving away a night stay there to this viewing party that they're having there, plus a VIP pass and stuff like that. I'll give you guys the details as we get towards the end of the show. We got sound for Walker Kessler. Is that what we have? Okay. So I thought this was good. This video, by the way, coming from Kobe Price. Kobe was on the show, what was it, last week? Great job covering the Lakers for the California Post. Walker Kessler, we finally get to hear from him. And I want to play something for you guys here. I mean, obviously a lot of eyes on Walker Kessler moving forward for the Lakers. They need this man to be real deal. They need him to be an elite center. They gave up a lot of draft compensation. Let's just say I think he's motivated and that he's very, very appreciative that the Lakers went out of the way to, go all in for Walker Kessler. And I got a feeling that his relationship with the Utah Jazz, there was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and maybe that affected that those two franchises, or the franchise and the player and their relationship. But I want to play something here from Walker Kessler. And this is Walker Kessler. A lot of these guys are in Las Vegas, so I guess they're just kind of catching them now and getting a chance to talk with some of the reporters and everything else. But Kobe Price, this is video from Kobe Price. I want you guys to take a listen. He's talking about basically how motivated he is for the Lakers. Take a listen.
It definitely makes you feel a certain way when an organization believes in you, and I think what they've invested, they're showing that belief and a monetary value, not just with money, but like you said, assets. And for me, I'm somebody that if I know that they have that belief in me, I'm going to run through a brick wall for them. This is how I've been wired my whole life, and it definitely makes it a lot easier to go out there and compete for a team.
All right, that's Kessler basically saying, I love that quote. I'll run through a brick wall for the Los Angeles Lakers. Why? Because they basically showed him, we want you here. You're our future center. We want you alongside Luka Doncic. Luka wanted an A-list center, and we went out and we chose you. We said that you're the one that's going to come play for the Los Angeles Lakers. And by the way, it costs a lot to get you over here. What was his contract details again, Eric? Double check on that. Was 150, 140, 130? I forget what the number is, but just write it down there. But it's not just the money that was the it wasn't just the money, 4 years, 130. It was the assets that the Lakers gave up. You know, a lot of people are looking at the Lake Show and saying, wait a minute, on top of giving them the 4 years, 130, you didn't just go out there and play this game with the Utah Jazz restricted free agent. We're going to tie so much money into Walker Kessler. The Lakers were like, no, we'll give you the draft compensation. Just give us the player. And I think it's important for Walker Kessler to say what he said. I think it's going to be important for Walker Kessler that once the season starts, that people start looking at this guy and saying, oh, man, he's worth every penny. He's worth every draft asset. I think it's important for the Lakers to look at Walker Kessler, and Walker Kessler is making the Utah Jazz feel a certain way, that they went a different direction and that wasn't the player that they fully invested in. So Kessler's going to have a lot on his back. And he's definitely going to have to, obviously make things happen. We don't have to play this next video, but he did talk about just how he's feeling. He says, my shoulder feels great, feels better than it ever felt in my life, 100% cleared, feels strong, feels mobile, feels great. So actually, I injured it back in college, and I was playing with it for a while. And then last year, it kind of got a little worse. And last year, we decided it would be the best timing to get it done. So Walker Kessler says he's healthy. He's ready to go. He's excited. He's motivated. He'll run through a brick wall for the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's exactly what he's going to have to do. Final thing I'll mention here in regards to Walker Kessler, he says it's awesome to have a guy like that. He's talking about Luka Doncic. Obviously, it'll be awesome to play with him, and now that it's finally come to fruition, especially as a big, it's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll see what that tandem's going to be. By the way, him and Austin Reaves as well. I mean, you got playmakers that are going to have a lot of attention on offense. And when you could have a 7'2" dude that can not only be the anchor of your defense, but also just help out the team in general in regards to making Austin Reaves and Luka Doncic's life a lot easier on both sides of the floor, that's big time right there. So nice to, get a chance to hear from Walker Kessler. And like I said, I think he said all the right stuff. He should be running through a wall for the Lakers. And they did give up a lot to go get Walker Kessler. Now it's up to Walker Kessler to prove that I'm worth every penny and every asset that you gave up. And we'll obviously have to wait on that, or in regards to that. All right, we'll take a look at some of the comments here. Let's get some of the comments. I got something I want to play from Mamu as well. And then we will look at a couple of the NBA stories and call it a day. Did I miss any of the, what do we hear? Did I miss any of the supers? Got those. Make sure here on the fly. What else do I got here? Got a new member. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you becoming a member. Member show coming up Thursday at 9:30. But thank you for being a member. I appreciate you very much. All right, let's get another one here. Kessler fits the team. I think Kessler is a calculated risk. Overpaid a little bit, but the trade is a good one. Yeah, I think what from my perspective, what I was hoping they would be able to do to get Walker Kessler is like, they overpay in money, but they keep their assets. That's what I was hoping for. But, like I said, Lakers, they clearly have a plan. It does feel like they know what they're doing. And I'm not here trying to tell you that everything's going to work perfectly, but they had a plan and they're executing it. And that I think you got to, I think you have to at least respect their vision. 2 picks for Kessler is completely fine considering the Bridges, Bane, and Gobert trades, Rudy Gobert. The 2 swaps won't matter that much. Appreciate you know how to read. Lakers Nation, we are officially back when the doubt and hate is at its highest. Feels like the old days, and it's a great sign. Luka loading. Okay, I like that there. Been watching for a while. Finally time to join the inner circle. I appreciate you, Nick. Thank you, man. I appreciate you very much, buddy. All right, let's get another one here. AR's contract is the most scary of all this offseason signing, 100%. He gave a couple crumbs back, right? Gave a couple crumbs back. They needed an athletic center for Luka. Kessler is overpaid. We'll find out. Listen, I think this is anytime these players get the type of money that they get, now it's up to them to kind of prove who they are, what they bring to the table. So I think it's going to be fun to watch and see. I'm just excited that it's going to be a completely different team this year. The approach is going to be different. The vision is going to be different. And we'll see what the ceiling is. I don't think we know the ceiling, and I also don't think we know the bottom. right? I don't think we know the ceiling or the floor. If you told me they were 6th in the West, I can't be shocked. If you told me they were 3rd in the West, maybe a little bit more surprised, obviously, if that happened. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where the Lakers kind of stack up. But why they did what they did makes sense. Okay, let me play one more quick clip here. One of the signings for the Lakers as well, Mamu, came from the Toronto Raptors. He was talking, again, this is also from, let's see. Oh, this video is Daniel Starkland of Lakers Nation on why he signed with the Lakers, Mamu, telling Kobe fandom and his Mamba mentality tattoo. So he just kind of go with it. I'm gonna let him just kind of talk about it. This is about a minute and a half or so. But again, these are new players that are on the Lakers. We're not going to be hearing that much from many of these players until we get to training camp. So let's take a quick listen. Why Mamu signed with the Lakers, and then he has this thing called the Mamu mentality. I'm learning about this as well. Take a listen.
Yeah, that's first of all, as I said, like the organization is very high level. You know, so many championships, so many great players. You know, I know we play at Crypto Arena, but it's the same thing as, like, to me, like growing up watching, playing at Staples Center, and, you know, having this purple and gold jersey, it just means a lot. I understand that, like, it's the biggest stage. It's the best organization, and you just got to go out there, be ready, and, you know, you can't run away from the spotlight. I feel like it's just like the best thing to have is coming out there every day, having the best fans in the world supporting you, making sure, you know, you're playing with the best players. And, you know, I think it's a great step in my career. I think I fit what they're doing. I love how coaching staff is, and, you know, what they preach. And I think, you know, playing with superstars like Austin, Luka Doncic, it's just going to, you know, help me get better and be a better player. So I think that those were the reasons. And as I said, you know, growing up, watching Kobe and all these players, like, you know, Lakers is a household name, and it's unbelievable to be here and then have a jersey with my last name.
Is that the 24?
Yeah, I got a Mamu Mentality tattoo. You know, I just love his mindset, and, you know, growing up, I used to always say Mamu Mentality. So, you know, it's a little far from each other, but you know, hopefully get it closer.
When did you
When
get
you were in
that tattoo?
Toronto, you
I think I got that tattoo in like 2018, my second year in college. You know, I was motivated. I was trying to, you know, find a way to get to where I am, and find my way into the league. And I understood it won't be an easy journey, but, you know, I just got to keep my head down and keep working.
All right, he's actually one of the more fascinating players for me that I'm most curious to see this upcoming season, to be honest with you. And I kind of got this. Maybe this is just me. He's got that, like, I think he's going to fall into this fan favorite type of thing with the Lakers. I really do. I think Laker fans are going to love this dude. I mean, listen, if guys was playing for the Toronto Raptors and got a Mamba mentality tattoo when he was in college, you're going to tell me this man's not going to be accepted with open arms. Now, he's got to ball out. He's got to play. I think his game is unique, but I got a feeling that he's going to be one of those signings for the Lakers that Laker fans are just going to love. So we'll see what happens. It's nice to obviously hear from some of these guys. I think today was perfect to not have a guest on, so I could kind of go in depth and get a chance to play some of these longer versions of some of these clips. So solid stuff right there. And, you know, obviously some good stuff right there in regards to that. All right, let's read a couple of the comments here. Let's see what we got here. Remember, we had Robert Sacre. Love Kessler. I do remember Sacre. I remember there was when I was doing Lakers talk, there was a time early on when I was doing that show, and I had a Saturday show at the time, and I was doing the show live from the Drew League. So if you guys are, you know, familiar with the Drew League is as good as it gets as far as summer competition. A lot of these NBA players, college players, you got all these like top athletes that play at the Drew League. I remember doing a show from there. And it was the free agency where they signed Luol Deng and Timofey Mozgov. And while I'm doing the show live, the Mozgov signing happens, the Luol Deng signing happens, and everyone starts demolishing the Lakers. And I'm like, slow down here, because it was like, you know, we didn't know the terms of how many years it was. I'm like, look, maybe they just signed him 1 year, 2 year deal, something like that. And when the details came out, it was 4 years, and it was guaranteed for both of those players 4-year deals. I'm like, yeah, Lakers are screwed. Lakers are screwed. They might as well just pick up a couple of these players from the Drew League. All right, let's get another one in here. Alan, I actually like Lakers being the underdog this season. Less pressure from the media. Yeah, I don't know if the media is going to ever help the Lakers out, because I think there's just always a storyline. And when things are going great, everybody's, cheering for it. When things aren't going good, everybody's, asking what the hell is wrong with the Lakers. But I could see that. I could definitely see that and go from there. Let's see what else we have here. Mamu already a fan favorite. You might be right about that. The fact that he said that you can't run from the LA spotlight is what I like the most. Yeah, I think that's true. And again, I think what I'll say this about the Laker brand. The Laker brand is not geographically just in Southern California. Laker brand's everywhere. I mean, go see when the Lakers play Memphis, or when they go play Atlanta, or when they go play the Knicks, or they go play even the Celtics. Like, the brand is everywhere. When the brand is cooking, when things are going, the Lakers are actually one of the contenders, or it's an exciting brand of basketball, that changes everything as well. All right, let's see what we got here. I got to give everybody. Let's see. Did I miss a super, or did I get the super? Let's see what we have here. Oh, yeah, that was the Robert Sacre. Okay. Let me give everyone just a quick idea. Before we get to our NBA stories, I want to tell everybody tomorrow we're going to do some trivia. And the trivia that we are going to do, I'm going to give everyone kind of an idea of what we got going on. And I think you guys will be into this. So you guys know that Harris is obviously a great partner of the channel and the show. So they got an event coming up on Sunday, July 19th. So this upcoming Sunday. And it's a viewing party for the game coming up on Sunday, the World Cup viewing party coming up on Sunday, July 19th. So they got some tickets for it, but they got these VIP passes, and they're nice enough to do a giveaway that we're going to be giving away. We're going to be providing a one-night stay on Saturday and tickets, VIP passes to the event on Sunday. So tomorrow, by the way, the VIP passes, we're going to include game day food is going to be included, and there'll be some other giveaways that they're doing and everything else. So tomorrow, if you have the ability to make it out to Harris they're doing a big viewing party for this thing. So it's going to be awesome. If you're a World Cup fan, it's going to be a phenomenal event to be at. If you think you can make it to that event, tune in tomorrow and tune in on Thursday, because I'm going to give one prize tomorrow, which is going to be a one-night stay plus the VIP pass, and then the following day as well. So we're going to do that for 2 straight days. So just keep ahead on that. Keep that in mind. Shout out to Harris Resort SoCal for obviously being a great partner and wants to do a giveaway here on the YouTube channel. So shout out to them. Okay, final thing that we're going to do here, as we always do, is I got some NBA stories that I want to hit on. We'll do a couple NBA stories, nothing too crazy. The NBA news wasn't anything too special today. Sometimes you got a lot more stories. Tyler Hero told ESPN he is ready to move on from the Bam Adebayo altercation. Quote, honestly, I'm just trying to move past all of it. I'm focused on Milwaukee and building something special. They obviously just traded the greatest player in their history, so we want to come in and help continue what they've been doing. I take it didn't probably go too well for Tyler Hero if he's already maybe trying to move on. I don't blame him. Listen, I'm not here trying to endorse any of that stuff. I'm not a fan of it, but you know what I thought was interesting? Draymond Green said something interesting about Udonis Haslem. I don't know if you guys saw that. Eric, if you could find that, and even if it's just the quote, but he had said something to the effect. He was like, I'm really curious what Udonis Haslem has to say about this, because Udonis Haslem had a lot to say about Draymond Green dropping Jordan Poole at that practice, which is the worst video. I freaking hate watching that damn thing. But he said something like, Udonis Haslem, you're part of Miami, and it's Bam. All right, let's see what we got here. Heat Central put this up. I'm going to look at this here as we look at it. I remember when I got into it with Poole, I remember one person, when the Jordan Poole incident happened with me, was really outspoken about it. Bothered me. It was Udonis Haslem. I saw UD get into it with guys on teams that was younger than him before, a la Jimmy Butler. Then he came out Like, that's ridiculous. You get into it with your young guy. I would never. I can't believe you did that. What is it? Heat culture or heat wave? Maybe they don't have fights. So when I first saw this, I was like, damn, this is two guys Udonis Haslem raised. If you raise the young guy in the light of what you were saying about me, and now he punches this other young guy that you kind of co-raised, are you going to have that same type of energy? I won't read the rest of it, but I thought it was interesting, right? The Udonis Haslem piece of it and kind of tying the two together. We'll see if Udonis Haslem responds, but I thought that was definitely thought that. Oh, he did respond. All right, let me see what we got here. All right, Jesus. I see some things just don't change. Sucka-ish 4 years ago when you swung on Jordan Poole, and you on ish now. I usually don't engage, but since you went so far left to get my attention, here it is. If you think you're big 32-year-old, 3 or 4 rings at the time, swinging on a 23-year-old Jordan Poole at the time is the same, then you are even more delusional than I thought. First of all, Bam is 28, Tyler's 26. Neither of them got it all figured out yet. Maybe I was just giving too much credit all the time because I thought you did so. That's why I commented. Second, anyone who knows Bam knows he's strong as a baby bear. If he would have unloaded on Tyler 100%, it's over. You fired off on that young boy like it was a club punch, and you never met him before in your life. I did go ahead, Jimmy. You're damn right. That shit you pulled in Golden State and that shit he pulled in Chicago, talking crazy to, I think it was Fred Hoiberg, and disrespected teammates in practice in Minnesota, ain't going to fly in the 305. So, yeah, I checked his ass. All right, let these two do their thing. I got nothing but love for Udonis Haslem. I hated the cheap shot, the Jordan Poole cheap shot that came out. It was just like, yeah, I couldn't stand that. But I like how Udonis Haslem called it a sucker punch back then, and he's kind of still standing by it. I'm in for all the drama. Listen, you got these people getting they got these boxing matches going on. You want a pay-per-view event? Give me Udonis Haslem and Draymond Green. I'm all in. I mean, you give me a price and I'm in. I don't think I could, top another NBA story in that one, so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to leave it at that. Lakers do have a game tonight, right? 7:00 against the Clippers. They have a game, so we'll get a chance hopefully to see a Theo, Cameron Carr, some of these other youngsters for the Lakers. Tomorrow we are back. Not 100% sure yet if I'm going to have a guest. I'm working on some guests over the next couple of weeks that I'm looking forward to, so I'll keep you posted on that. Appreciate everybody being here, hanging out on the show. Another phenomenal show, and appreciate you guys all hanging out during the show. Shout out to Eric Scalar. Thank you to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, Harris Resort SoCal, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday.